Welcome to Self-Critic Reviews, and today Self-Critic is going to review premeditated Russian invasion into Ukraine's territory on Putin's orders. I'm not a foreign policy expert or knowledgeable about geopolitics, but what's currently going on is really important to me, so I feel like I should say something and revive this channel because of it, or I will regret it for the rest of my life. The only thing every single person in Ukraine is thinking about right now is how this war can possibly end while maintaining the sovereignty of Ukraine. That's the whole point, that surrendering is not an option, and letting Putin get away with this inhuman decision to invade isn't either. Peace at all costs does not make sense, because it will beget more atrocities and will create a precedent that anything goes as long as you have money and power. Ukrainians are not fighting just for themselves. As corny as it sounds, they're fighting for the integrity of the whole world. Unfortunately, Ukrainian population does not have much of a choice or an influence on the peaceful outcome, aside from actually defending their own country. Therefore, the only real way to stop this war is from within, by Russian people speaking up, by actually having Russian population lose faith in Putin. It's been established that Putin really does not care about anything in the world, aside from power. And the only reason he even has power is because he has people doing his business for him. All it takes is for everybody to revolt, and Putin is not able to do anything. However, it's looking like some of the closest Putin sycophants are regrettably too brainwashed and scared to go against him. But that tall order should really be the goal in this tragedy we're facing, to convince Putin's allies that he's not worth following because he's ruining his own country's people's lives. That's why the West uniting to help Ukraine as much as possible by making sure Ukrainian people are able to resist is useful. That's why the sanctions are important. They're not aimed at Putin himself, but at regular people, to make him realize that Putin's ideology is not worth living under. And the more these people protest and raise their voices, the more difficult it is for the government officials to continue committing atrocities that are happening in Ukraine. Yes, Russian economy is going to hurt, but world peace is at stake. And if Putin is allowed to turn Ukraine into a puppet state without any consequences, this means that international law is a complete farce. And if a world leader has enough money, they can get away with anything. And this should not happen. I know people are afraid of World War III and nuclear weapons, but Putin wanted to use them for a long time. He's been developing them, and his life is almost coming to an end. So why wouldn't he want to instigate the biggest war since World War II before he dies? He just wants to be remembered in history just like Hitler was. This is why I think being afraid of it is already wishful thinking, because Putin is just looking for an excuse to start it. And he does not care and will find it, because he's getting more and more senile. The thing is, even if you read Russian propaganda, and even if you believe whatever lies they're spewing, not a single one of those reasons is a valid justification for this invasion. The funny thing is that from the Ukrainian side and the world side, it's clear what Ukraine wants. To get Russian troops out of Ukraine and leave the country alone. That's it. Nothing else. Let geography mean something. If you need DNR, LNR, Crimea, just purchase them like Alaska was purchased from Russia. And there is no problem. Enter a negotiation. However, from the Russian side, there are numerous inconsistent theories with regards to what's going on. Some people say that Russia has not invaded anybody, and those are Ukrainian people fighting each other. Others say it's to denazify and demilitarize Ukraine. Others say it's to make us pay for crimes Ukraine has committed on Ukrainian soil. And that's without even mentioning the NATO reasoning. All pro-Russian views are extremely inconsistent and cannot come to one common denominator. Because even if anything I mentioned earlier was true, none of it is a justification to enter another country's territory and start destroying the land and killing people. The fact that some people do not realize this or see it is astonishing. Ukraine falling would mean the end of the world peace, and I pray that for once in history, the people on the right side of the truth win.